Allison Gaillard with Run Your Story, where every story needs to be heard. And this is a story so many of us have been looking forward to for a very long time, and that is with the Mr. Victor Stevens. So excited to finally get to sit down with him. We had tried many times to get on together, and so super stoked that it finally happened. He actually flew in from New York, where he has recently moved to, and made time to sit down with Run Your Story. So this was such a huge honor, and so I appreciate Victor for taking the time to do that. And guys, so good, so much fun, and just Victor's personality. He's just such a fun dude, and his saying of have fun while you run, that is completely him. Like, sitting down and talking with him, that's what you get, is just a fun human being that loves running and loves community. Man, does he love community. And I took away nuggets of advice, which as long distance runners we're always looking for. And so a couple of things that stood out was how Victor shared about get on those long bike rides, guys. Get out and do trails. Get out and build your legs while you run. Absolutely amazing. And just such great advice, and definitely nuggets that I'm going to take with me forever. So he is, again, such an extraordinary runner and just an amazing heart and attitude for the running community. And so thank you, Victor, for taking the time during your trip to sit down with Run Your Story. We definitely miss you in the running community here in Mobile, but we know you're doing big things in New York, and hopefully one day all of us Mobtown people can go out there and run with you, my friends. It was just so great to sit down with Victor and to hear his story. And Victor's story, along with all of the ones this month, are being fueled by our podcast partner, which is the Women's Resource Center, and their This Is Life 5K, which will be September 28th at Sims Honor Park. Families, strollers, everyone in the community is welcome. Guys, you can definitely find out more about the Women's Resource Center and the This Is Life 5K at wrcmobile.org/events, or also at runnerstory.com. And guys, we are huge supporters of the Women's Resource Center because they are community-minded and a faith-based ministry that does life with our neighbors who need them the most. And so from medical services to parenting classes, educational, going into our schools, the WRC is helping our community be a better community, one family at a time. And so they are always looking for volunteers, looking for supporters, so definitely go check them out. Again, you can find them out at WRC Mobile, and you can also follow them on social media. We are so excited. This is such a dear race to us, and can't wait to be back on the 28th of this month to run This Is Life 5K. All right, guys, lace up those running shoes, get ready, get set, and go have fun while you run with the Victor Stevens. It is about time that we have the Victor Stevens on this podcast.
I'm excited to be here.
So, your name has come up so much with people wanting to know your story. And they're like, you got to have Victor. You got to have Victor. So, that being said, you have a question, extra question, from a Patreon supporter. And that is, which runner inspires you the most, and why is it James Contrada?
Wow. Well, I don't have a particular person, but there are so many good runners in the local community that you take a little bit here, take a little bit there from. I like Barry Roberts is a good person. He's a good person to run and talk with.
Sure.
I haven't done as many runs with him in a while, especially since he became a coach, but he's a good person. I would say Lance is a good runner to run and talk with. And then there are ultra runners, and they done OCR, so you can get the whole scope of running through them. Lots of good running wisdom. Oh, and then if James thinks that he's on my list, it's not true. I think I'm on his list.
Oh!
That's just his way of saying that he misses running with me. That's all that is.
That's for sure. For sure. Yeah. I love that. And I love the companionship that all you guys have, because you guys are like not only stellar athletes, but just stellar human beings. Like, you guys just always have a good time, always laughing and joking one another. And I don't know, it's just, you do life together. And I absolutely love that.
Yes, me and Katrina have a lot of good run and talk together. We ran some crazy routes together too.
I love that. Well, let's jump in. What is your run story? How does your story begin?
I feel like it was by accident, to be
Oh,
honest,
okay.
because a lot of people, when they say they have a running story, it's mainly because of health reasons or mental reasons. Mine is basically like I always were an athlete. I always done stuff recreationally or intramurally. But I had two roommates who was both in the ORTC. And I know on early Thursday morning, they usually do PT workouts. And that's usually 4 o'clock in the morning. So they would always come back and complain about their workouts. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and see what the big fuss is about. And so they did exercises, and then one of the last things they done was run. So I ran with them on one day, and then I got done first, and I just sat there and watched everybody else do it.
Oh.
And then I was like, well, if they could do that, and then I played soccer on top of it. So I was like, well, maybe I could start doing some running. And then next thing I know, I had a couple of coworkers. I had one guy, he wanted to lose weight, so I started walking with him. And then I had another coworker, she was just wanting to run. I had somebody to run and talk with. So I just done that. But I was never the runner I am now. I was just doing it just to do it. And eventually 1 mile became 2 miles, and then eventually, every now and then I would do a 5K or a 10K race because I view it as like, that's just my way of doing volunteer work. So I wasn't racing just to be racing it. I was doing it because a lot of the races was for good causes. And so fast forward to 2013, I moved to Birmingham, and I had a coworker there. He was a runner, and so every Friday we would run together. Sometimes we would do Red Mountain Park, which is trails, which is really nice. And we ran along Lakeshore in Homewood, which is a really nice trail. It goes from Homewood all the way over to Mountain Brook. And you pass by Sanford University along the way. Then I moved back down here. I got with a running group around 2017, and they would do runs multiple times a week downtown. And then I met people there, and I just got into it. I done fun races, and then eventually it led me to a light bulb hitting my head. It's like, okay, I can do this competitively. So I would say from 2018 forward, I switched from being a recreational runner to a competitive runner.
I love that. And you've literally ran, how many states have you ran?
I would say, I know it's double digits,
Yeah.
but it's not high. It's not like I've been like to 20. I would say maybe somewhere between 15 to 20 states. And majority of that because of my job when I was working and traveling a lot. Everywhere I would go, either for work or for a race, it would be in a different state. And so one of the best things about being a runner, especially a long distance runner, you take advantage of it. You get to see places by foot.
Absolutely. And I say there's no better way to explore a city than by foot, by walking, running, seeing what it's like, and you get the feel of the city that way. Oh, I love that so much. That is so cool. Oh, man, amazing. And not only that, but I love how you started as community, and that's still been so much of who you are as a runner. Even though you're like, hey, I'm going to go competitive, you also still have that core of community, and I love that. That's amazing. So obviously you've learned some lessons from running. What are some of those?
The first thing you need to learn when you become a runner is to be patient. Results are not going to come right away. It's just like any other sport. You have to let it go with the flow over time. The more consistent you get, the better you get over time. And you learn, strategize, learn what you couldn't do from your first race and how to improve and work on your next race. Whether it could be like, okay, maybe I need to do more strength and conditioning to be better for my next race. You take a little something from your previous races or workouts and implement it towards your next race.
Oh, yeah. That's so good. Okay, I got to know. What is your favorite race?
If you want me to break it down by distances, I could do that.
Okay, let's do that. I love that.
So My favorite 5K is the Saints Run 5K in New Orleans, and they always do it the Saturday before the NFL season.
Oh, okay.
And it's similar to other team races where they start in front of the stadium and they end inside the stadium at the 50-yard line. And the last 40 of it is the 40-yard dash.
Oh, fun.
And they measure your 40 time. So that's my favorite 5K. We moving on up to 10Ks. I like Crescent City and Peachtree. Combination of the two, because I don't do that many 10Ks. I feel like 10Ks on my bugaboo distance. Because it's not a shorty, but it's not a long run. It's right there in between. So I really don't run that many of them.
Okay.
So for the half, I would say the Louisiana half, but I love it as a full. And because both the full and the half run together most of the way, I'm just going to move that over to the full marathon. But for the half, I love the Montgomery half.
Ooh, okay.
So the unique thing about the Montgomery half is that it starts and ends downtown, but you get to go through so many places. You run by the planetarium, Alabama State. Sometimes they have the band out there playing. You go by Huntington College, and you go through historic neighborhoods like Cloverdale, and you come back downtown, you run by the Capitol and the Martin Luther King Church and the other museums. So you can see a lot in that span.
I am shocked by your answers, because not one of them, because you kept it all south, and you've recently made a huge move to New York, and you didn't mention running in New York.
Because I haven't raced that much in New York.
But you have raced in New York.
Yes, I have raced in New York, but I haven't done as many races in New York, and a lot of their races are in Central Park. So I put a big asterisk on that because, for example, they will have a half, and it's basically 2 laps around Central Park.
Oh.
It's nice for people watching, but I'd rather go point to point.
Yeah. Yeah. And Central Park is hilly. It's a lot hillier than what people realize.
A lot of people don't realize New York is hilly. And the area where I live at is all hills. And the further up you go, the more mountainous and hilly it gets. I would say the only flat areas in New York would be along the riverside in Manhattan.
Yeah.
But the rest is hilly. You have parts of Brooklyn that's hilly. Staten Island is sneaky hilly. Because when I ran the New York Marathon, I thought New York was going to be flat. I did not anticipate all the hills. But yeah.
Yeah.
But those hills has made me a better runner.
Absolutely. Oh. Okay. Let's talk about routine. Do you have one for pre-race?
I would say I usually, because I'm a walker, I like to walk around a little bit. And I would do a warm-up, maybe like a mile to a mile and a half warm-up. Importantly, I make sure that I'm hydrated. I have my salt tablets and my glue, have everything situated. But mainly it's just to mentally prepare myself. And as runners, you always got to make sure you have enough trips to the porta lane.
That's right.
You can never have enough of those trips.
Absolutely. Or enough porta potties.
That's right.
Let's talk about you cross the finish line and you're done. You like a good brewery. I do know this about you. So you cross the finish line, you grab a beer. What else do you like to do post-race routine?
I walk.
Okay.
I actually walk around. I know some people like to do cool down runs. That's not me.
Okay.
I will rather walk around, socialize a little bit. And that's really about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Nothing major. But yeah, I would rather walk around just because when you stop, that's when you get stiff and you get cramps. I don't want to do that. Yeah, I just want to walk around a little bit. And then if I have a beer in my hand, a walker sip is not bad.
You're just replenishing the carbs.
That's right. It's called recovery juice.
That is great.
If you ever hear me say recovery juice, just know that it's either beer or pickle juice. Or a combination of both.
Have you done one yet? Like, put them both together?
No, not together, but I know some breweries, they do have beer with pickle juice in it.
Interesting.
I know when Serta was in town, they used to have a good pickle beer.
Look at that. You should definitely bring that to New York.
They're all about IPAs up there. So. Oh, and then also I went to a local brewery this week and I tried a couple of seltzers, and the lady at the bar was like, "Yeah, these seltzers have electrolytes in it." It's very rare that you will have a brewery that would have beer with electrolytes in it. My all-time favorite beer had electrolytes in it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting.
And it was by Paulo Brewery in New Orleans, Paulo Beer Lab. I did a brewery run there when they first did it in 2020. And the beer that they showcased was a electrolyte beer, and they haven't made it since. And I always wanted them to keep making it, but they stopped right there. And I haven't had a beer with electrolytes till the other day.
Interesting. Okay. That's a fun fact. I didn't know that was a thing.
It's very rare.
Yeah. Wow. The things you learn when you go on a brewery run.
Yeah, and you did a full marathon. You go from brewery to brewery. And it was I did it earlier this year on my birthday. That was my birthday run. So you go to maybe this year they did 14 breweries.
Okay.
But they have water there. If you need water or you need electrolytes, they have that there. You don't have to drink beer if you don't want to. Just remember, you guys have free will. No one's forcing you to do anything.
There you go. What is your absolute favorite running item? Like, you will not go run without it.
I can't run without my earbuds.
Okay. What do you listen to when you run?
I listen to all kinds of music, but it has to be upbeat because I'm an energy person. And
I'm shocked by that.
I'm an energy person. I like it. I like upbeat. I could do house. I could do some Latin music or some dancing music.
Oh, okay.
But mainly, like, for example, now I use SoundCloud and I listen to Playground Radio by Louis the Child, and they always have a new thing every 2 weeks, and they always have different songs on there, a collection of songs, different genres.
Okay. Good stuff. All right. Running shoes. What do you run in?
Ooh, good question. I would say my favorite shoe is the Asics Nimbus.
Really? Okay.
I love that shoe.
Because they've updated it.
Yes, I have the updated one. Now, last year, it would be the shoe that I would run a slow run or a recovery run in. But this year, they made it lighter. And the cushion is more different. So you could do, what I like about the Nimbus is you could run any distance in the shoe. And it's sneaky good for if you want to run off-road. Like, not hardcore trail, but just grass and gravel, a little bit like that. Yes, that's my favorite shoe. I also run in the Mach 6 and the Saucony Endorphin Speed. So I have those two as my super trainers, which is basically upgrades from the previous ones I had last year. And my current race day shoe is the shoe I had last year, which is the Endorphin Speed Pro 3. They are very light with carbon in it, but the cushion is really good. You could do any distance in it. I actually ran a 50K in them this year.
Why not?
I ran a sneaky 50K in it this year.
Wow. What I liked about learning about that question was that 2 out of 3 shoes you said, I have the Saucony Speed. I got on sale at Wagner's. And then I tried on the Asics Nimbus, and I was impressed by how, first of all, the toe box was phenomenal. But then, like you said, it is super light. And
it's much lighter this year than last year.
100%. And the colors were just amazing. But then I went to go run it, and I was like, it was a good balance between a Hoka and the Saucony. That's how I felt.
It's the perfect balance between light and heavy.
Yeah. It was a good. It's on my list of wants because that was not a shoe I would have pulled, and I tried it on. I was like, wow. So the fact that you run in that, Victor,
it's the perfect trainer.
Okay, got it. All right. Okay. All right. How do you fuel for your long runs?
I know some people like goose, some people like hummus, but I like Hammer Nutrition.
Okay.
So I load my salt tablets and I do recovery tablets after the run. But while I am running, I do the Hammer Nutrition gels. Those are really good. They just had a new one with peanut butter.
Stop. I didn't know Hammer made gels. Okay.
Yeah, so they have espresso one, raspberry. Oh yeah, it's different stuff, but I like it better than Goose.
Okay. Now you said recovery tablets. What is that? Is that also Hammer?
Yep.
Okay.
So that would be after you race. After you race or after you've done your workout, and you could take recovery pills. You could do 2. I would say do it before you go to bed. Don't do it right afterwards unless you really need to. I would say you could do it before you go to bed, and if you're still a little sore after your workout or long run, I would take it the next day.
What made you decide to implement that into your nutrition?
I was referred to it by someone.
Okay.
And I just thought, okay, because it said it's good for tissue and bone recovery. So it's a good combination. And then also for my recovery, I like Epsom salt baths. Yep, I
absolutely.
You could do an Epsom salt bath or a good long shower. That is good. And then I can't think of the name, but it's a little green alcoholish. So I put that in the Epsom salt bath water too.
Okay.
Have these little bubbles in there, Dr. Tills.
Dr. Tills, yes.
Dr. Tills is the man. So you get that liquid Epsom salt or the combination of both the Epsom salt and the liquid while you're soaking. That's good. And then if you need to use that massager, you can use that right after you get out the tub.
There we go. Talk about recovery for days.
That's right. You don't have to have a good run game, but if you have a good recovery game, you're all set.
I like that. Let's talk about, do you have a favorite running memory? Like this running memory just makes you so excited.
I would say my first marathon was the Mobile Marathon. And I've been practicing on it, and I would say that it was very difficult than I thought because you're doing a flat, then you're doing 10 or more miles of hills, and then you're back to flat again. And so I always thought that was difficult, but once I crossed over, I felt so excited and so accomplished to do my first marathon.
And you never looked back?
Nope.
No, just kept going.
Yep.
You brought up some great stuff about recovery. Let's talk about cross training. Do you have any cross training activities that you like to do?
I would say besides walking, I like to bike. And if you're one of those who play another sport, that is good for cross training. Some people would say going to the gym is cross training, but I view that as more strength and conditioning than cross training because I feel like you still would need to go to the gym. But it's always good to have something else to do. Don't put all your eggs in the running basket. And when you do a cross training, for example, when you bike it, you exercise in different parts of your body. So your body's not getting bored by you doing the same thing over and over again. And that goes for when you're working out too.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so good. Is there a race that you're just like, man, that was not my best race?
And there've been a couple, but it's never been to the point that, I don't want to come back.
Okay.
I would say some of it is mostly weather related. It could be too humid or it could be bad weather that made me not be at my best. But the important thing is I finished it. I would say some 5Ks, I had some bad 5Ks. But the good thing is, especially if you're a long distance runner, you can have a bad start. But you have the distance to make it up. But in a 5K, you know, I would say a bad 5K that I kind of bombed on was I think of the name of it. It's a really hot one here.
The crime prevention?
Yes. The crime prevention is always tough because you worry about, it's so high. You worry about overheating. So the first mile, I could be good, mile and a half. Then it's just after mile 2, after you make that turn, I feel that last mile is so long and it's you seeing in the abyss, am I going to get closer?
Yeah.
Yeah. But once I cross over the finish line, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm. There's been times in the previous years where you're running and someone opens a door coming out and you're like, oh, please, I just want to feel the air as you're running. You're just like, and you don't realize, you're like, it is so hot. But when some of that cold air hits you, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody that wants to start? Which I love the stories that you shared. You've been so great at helping people start. So when people come to you, Victor, and they're like, I want to start running or walking, what is something that you tell them?
I would say don't run first. I would tell them to build your legs up first. Do your strength training first before you go all in on running, because you can only be as good as a runner as good as your legs. So I would say build your legs up first before you run.
That is really good.
And I have a trick. So before I became I say another sneaky way to be a good long distance runner is to, I would say, run trails. I would say a combination of running trails and do long bike rides, because that's what got me in the transition between doing a half and a full. Was I was able to do long bike rides, and not 20 or 30 miles. I'm talking about maybe about 50, 60 miles on the bike, because you have that, I call the bike to run ratio. Every 4 miles on the bike is like 1 mile running, energy wise. And then trails, because trails, you could do longer distance on the trail and use the same energy as running a mid-range run, because the trails will slow you down. And you doing a slow run will help you build yourself up to be able to do the mileage. And then once you have the mileage, you can speed your way up to getting the pace that you want.
That is fantastic. I love the bike thing too, because I remember training for my marathon, and I was doing, because it was 2020, so everything was shut down, and so I was doing way more cycling. And now I'm like, well, I did not put the 2 and 2 together. That is amazing. Okay.
Yeah, because if you could do a really long bike ride, you could do a double-digit run.
Okay.
A lot of people don't think like that.
Yeah.
Just remember that 4-to-1 ratio on like a regular bike, not like a mountain bike, but more like a road bike.
Okay. All right, I'm putting that nugget of wisdom in my back pocket. Yes, sir, I am. What are your goals?
I always say my goals when I'm doing a race, especially if it's a race I've done in the past, I always want to do better this time around than last. But my main goal is I want to do all 6 majors, but I don't want to be really old by the time I get it.
You want those stars, baby. Those
That's
6
right.
stars.
I want it. I want the 6 stars. And then, my main motto is have fun while you run. Because if you don't have fun while you're running, why are you doing it?
Yeah, I like that. How many stars do you have right now?
I have just one, which is
There's
New
no
York.
just. There's no just.
I have just
Victor.
one, but Berlin is my next one.
Okay.
And that would be 2. But I've been trying to get into Chicago and London and Tokyo the past 3 years, and I haven't been able to get in. And I don't want to do it through charity because that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those people. I told my coworkers, I was like, you know what, I could get creative, get that OnlyFans page, put your feet out there. If y'all do it, I get 30%. I can just be the director. I do the music. I do the choreography. All you gotta do is just have your feet out there. And then if desperate times become desperate measures, then we just have to go all the way up to have to show more skin. And then once I get my charity money, you can get the 100%.
This is where you call out James Contrada and you say, bro, I need feet pics.
Oh, you don't want to see his feet. You don't want to see his feet. Yeah, he always talk a lot of noise. He always talking about, oh, I'm going to BQ. I'm going to do this. I'm going to BQ before him. The only thing he has over me is that he's older than me. So once he reaches a certain age, a new age group, then he'll have more lenient time. So he has 2.5 years over me.
Gotcha. Wow. What is your time to be able to qualify?
So I know in my age group, it have to be 310.
Wow.
And then I know in the next age group, it goes down to 320.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's what he's waiting on, that 10 extra minutes. Because I PR'd and when I ran Mississippi Gulf Coast, so he seen my time and I was in 320. So he was like, well, I did 324. And I was like, yeah, maybe 20 years ago.
Oh.
Can't do it now.
Oh.
And he's a big baby. I try to get him to do double digits each week. And he makes a big deal out of it. I was like, how you gonna be cute if you don't even want to do 10 miles each week? You could at least do that. He comes up with this. He has an excuse. Either it's the weather. I didn't get out of bed early enough. Yeah.
That just doesn't sound like James Contrada at all.
Yeah. Don't let the ball innocent fool y'all. He's very extra.
Oh, hashtag James and Victor. You mentioned making run fun.
Correct.
That's amazing. Is that what you tell yourself when it gets hard and you want to quit?
It's all about the mentality. Because that's what long runs is. You have to mentally be able to do it. And if you down and out, you just say, hey, can I make it that next block? Can I make it that next mile? Can I make it that next half of a mile? Can I make it to that red light? And then I personally think I spent all this money on this race and on the hotel and the flights and stuff. We don't waste money. So we're going to finish this, whether it's at 320 or at 420. We're going to finish it because we don't waste money.
That's right. See, and I'm a back of the pack runner. So what I say is I'm getting every cent's worth out of this.
I just say, as long as the police car is not behind you, you're doing something right.
That's right. There we go. What is your favorite length to run? Whether it is a training run or a race day. Is there just a certain amount you're like, yes, I get to go run this today?
I like doing 10 milers and 20 milers.
Okay.
I think those two are underrated because I always say if you could do a 10, you could do a half. And if you could do a 20, you could do a full. So a 10 miler and a 20 miler are good. And then for you speedy people out there, if you could do a good speedy 2 miler, you can do a good 5K.
Okay, you just said speedy people. You're one of the speedy people.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think of myself as speedy.
Okay.
I just think I'm good enough. Just let me be I'm top 5%, but maybe one day I go down to top 1%.
Okay.
I'll eventually get there somehow.
When you aren't running, what are you passionate about? What fuels you?
When I'm not running. And that's crazy because everybody knows me from running. So.
You're an amazing uncle.
Yeah, I do love being an uncle. That's uncle life is good life. So I got that, and I have a dog. I like the job that I have. It's the little things. I don't have one big thing that I'm passionate about, but it's multiple things.
Has your dog adjusted well to New York life?
So my dog is here.
Okay.
I didn't bring him. One of the reasons was because the apartment that I'm living in, they don't have certain dogs, and they have a weight limit. So he would have been above the weight limit. But my main reason is that I didn't want him to be by himself when I'm not there.
Yeah.
At least when he's with my mom, he has another dog, and he has my sister and her kids. So he has people that's familiar with him.
Yeah.
And he has a decent surrounding. I didn't want him to be stuck in an apartment 10 to 12 hours a day. That wouldn't be fair on him.
Yeah. Was he excited to see you when you came home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't believe that it was me at first.
Oh.
But then when he realized it was me, him and the other dog was happy. So now, because I always take them for walks early in the morning, so now that I'm home, they like, okay, it's time to go. Because they know my mom is not going to do it. My My mom may take them for a ride maybe like once a week, but they used to be taking them out almost every day. We'll do 2 to 3 mile walks, and I've been doing that since I've been home. And I'm surprised how in good shape they still are.
I love that. Any final words of wisdom, my friend?
I like fun runs. I do like to take pictures because I like you guys to see what I see when I'm out there. A good fun run would be what I call field trip runs, where you go, you run and explore places. And with me in New York, that's one of the things I like to do. I like to run and see stuff. And my favorite, what I call field trip run, is just running up Broadway. So I would get out the subway at the Bowling Green station, which is at Battery Park, and I make my way up Broadway, which is good because you can see a lot. You can see Wall Street, you'll pass by the Bull statue, then you would go through the different neighborhoods. And what's good about Broadway and Lower Manhattan is some of it doesn't have cars. So you can run on it. So you'll pass by Union Square. You go to Times Square. I run it through Times Square.
With the mass of people?
Yeah. But you get to see stuff. And you got Columbus Circle, you pass Lincoln Center, and then you work your way up to Columbia, and you pass through all the other neighborhoods. So you can go all the way up to the Bronx in terms of Broadway in the city. But that Broadway goes all the way up to Ossining, and then it becomes another street. But like every city in New York has a Broadway on it because there's a Broadway in Brooklyn, there's a Broadway in Queens, and then if you're not from there, you may get confused because each of those have subway stations along the way too. But the Broadway I'm talking about is a good deal. Oh yeah, and then you have other stuff off of that Broadway too. You have the Broadway shows, you got Central Park, Empire State Building, Madison Square Garden. So that's a good cityscape run, especially with this time of year with it being hot. I would say run smarter, not harder. So a good shaded run is good for the summertime.
I love that. And I will say, I love your pictures. When you post, we're like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, because people from down here, they never seen the places that I go to. So I always be like, hey, you guys are with me in my head.
I love
that. So
I
just like you guys to see what I see when I'm out here.
So fun. And I will say, as something that we talked about earlier, was that go and run and explore, whether you're on vacation or you're traveling or you're moving, to really explore that. And that was one of the things that I learned when we were in New York. And I was like, I just want to run through Central Park. And you run, and there's a lot of people that run in Central.
It's a lot going on. You got people on horses, you
bikes
got people
everywhere. Yeah. And so you're like, wow, this is so active. And you get lost in there, literally, because there's all kind of little trails, but you don't hear the city. You're in the trees, and it's just so much to look at. But then you're like, well, it is so hilly. The movies don't ever tell you this.
No. And another good spot, if you do come up there, Prospect Park is a good one in Brooklyn. It would be like Brooklyn's version of Central Park. Same layout, wooded and stuff, so that's a good one. It's a lot of little spots you could do trail running in New York too. Because you could do trail running in Central Park. A lot of people don't know that.
That's right. There's little trails that go off. Yep.
Yeah, you could do the trails around the reservoir. It's 3 miles. I'm getting the hang of it because I don't live in the city. I live right outside of it. So every now and then I'll go into the city and do a long run, or what I call a multi-borough run. Oh, the bridges, when you run over the bridges, some of them are really nice. I know a lot of people do the Brooklyn Bridge, but I would say that's more touristy, and it can get crowded if you don't go at the right time. So I like to do Manhattan Bridge, and I like Williamsburg because that's where all the runners and the bikers would go. And the subway is right next to you, too. So you can have the subway. If you take certain trains, they go over the water as opposed to under the water. And that's a good ride.
Yeah.
That's a good ride, too.
So what I'm hearing is we need a mobile running group to go and just have a good time in New York and run New York with Victor as our tour guide, as our tour runner. Here, guys, we're going this way.
Yeah. They actually got a lot of run groups. They meet at Central Park.
That's so cool.
That's why Central Park be so packed on Saturdays and Sundays, because they have 40 to 50 different run groups out there.
Whoa, really?
It's a lot of run groups.
Wow.
And when I ran the Brooklyn half, I didn't know that it was 40 groups in Brooklyn alone.
Wow. That is incredible. Wow. We'll keep posting pictures because we love that. Thank you for being the runner that you are and just so full of joy and making time while you were here in town, back at your southern roots, to sit down and to share your story.
It's no problem.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for having me here.
So much fun. Thank you again, Victor, for sharing your story, for sharing your heart with this community. And again, I know we're sharing you with New York right now, but just so thankful for you and so thankful for what you've done in our community and you continue to do. You are a legend and just so much fun. It was so great to be able to sit down and just to hear your story and all the advice that you give and just what you're doing with so many in the running community. Like, you're always there for advice, and we appreciate you so much. And again, such nuggets of wisdom, so great, and just such a great personality. So thank you for what you're doing for the running community, Victor. You're an extraordinary human being, and I'm truly thankful that you made time for this podcast. So absolutely amazing. And I was already a fan of Victor, and so now it's like, wow, this is the real deal, guys. Definitely go follow him on social media, Strava, all the things. He is so fun, obviously, as you listen to his story. He's just a fun dude. And as always, thank you to our podcast partner of the month, which is the Women's Resource Center. Guys, definitely go sign up for This Is Life 5K, which is going to be September 28th. It's going to be so much fun. The after party is amazing, and they do such a great job. And definitely go check out the Women's Resource Center. So grateful that we have an organization that gives back so much to our community day in and day out. And so excited to have this partnership. And we believe in the local running community. We believe in the local running events. And we believe in the nonprofits like the Women's Resource Center. So definitely go check that out. That is wrcmobile.org/events. You can also find out more at runyourstory.com on the very first page. There'll be a link there as well. And as always, to Mars Hill, thank you so much for giving us a place to be able to record. Mars Hill believes in our running community and our running stories and how impactful they are for one another, and truly grateful for that, because our stories do matter and they help bring us together and make us stronger. And so I appreciate that Mars Hill believes in us, and we believe in Mars Hill. And as always, Gaillard Tech Services does such a great job editing our podcast. And we've been having sit-downs about updating our website, and so we're very, very excited for that. And if you would like your running event to be featured on the website, there's a tab there on the website that you guys can check out and email us as well. So much that goes on that website that Gray from Gaillard Tech Services puts in. So definitely email us or contact us, social media, or also just be like, hey guys, I want you to feature this. So Gray tries to update as much as possible, but races are always popping up that we don't know about. So we would love to have you on the race calendar. So just let us know. And if you need somebody to update that current website or get you going on a new one, Gaillard Tech Services does such a fabulous job, and we are truly appreciative of all that he does for the running community and for Run Your Story. So definitely check out on social media and the website Gaillard Tech Services. He is the go-to. We really, really, really appreciate him. And guys, you're gonna want to like, share, comment Victor's story. He's so much fun, and we appreciate him, and definitely we love the feedback. So truly grateful for that. So definitely share. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys are absolutely phenomenal. You know how much I love and appreciate all of you. And so if you're interested in becoming part of the Patreon family members, then sign up. You can go to runyourstory.com for more information. There's a Patreon tab as well. Also, guys, don't know if you know this, but we have a swag store, and we're constantly trying to update it. But you can find different mantras on there. You can also find some Run Your Story swag, and that is going to be under the community tab, and it's going to be under store. So definitely check it out as well. Until next time, guys, go run your story, because every story needs to be heard.